There is a moment that happens at the feeder, a moment you have noticed but never understood. The bird turns. It looks directly at you, not at the seed, not at the yard, at you. And it holds it for a full second, maybe two. The eye finds yours and stays there, and something passes between you that you cannot name, but you have never quite forgotten. You have probably felt it dozens of times. You may have mentioned it to someone and struggled to explain why it seemed significant. It is significant. And what is actually happening inside that bird's brain during that moment is one of the most specific and deliberate cognitive processes in the animal kingdom. Today, we are going inside it. Welcome back to The Bird's Know. What we cover today changes the way you understand every bird that has ever looked at you. And the last thing we get to is the part that people find hardest to stop thinking about. Number 1, the bird is not looking at you. It is reading you. When a bird turns and makes direct eye contact with a human, the first thing to understand is that it is not expressing an emotion in the way you might express one. It is performing a cognitive task. The avian visual system processes the environment in two distinct modes: wide field awareness, scanning broadly for movement, threat, and food, uses the peripheral visual field. High resolution, focused attention uses the fovea, the region of the eye with the highest concentration of photoreceptors. When a bird turns to look directly at you, it is shifting from wide field scanning to foveal focus. It is pointing its highest resolution vision at you specifically. This is not a casual glance. It is the bird allocating its best visual processing capacity to the task of evaluating you. Research on avian visual cognition from the University of Vienna, studying corvids and their gaze behavior, found that birds engage in precisely directed gaze as a deliberate cognitive strategy, not as a reflex, not as a coincidence of orientation, but as an intentional act of focused attention. The bird that looks at you has chosen to look at you. What is it doing with that attention? It is reading your posture, your stillness or movement, the direction your own eyes are pointing, the micro movements of your hands and body, the pattern of your breathing. And it is running all of that information through a threat assessment system that has been refined by millions of years of predator-prey relationships. The eye contact is not the beginning of something. It is the visible surface of a process that is already running at full capacity. Number 2, what the bird already knows before it looks. Here is where it becomes more specific. By the time a bird makes direct eye contact with you at your feeder, it has likely already been watching you for some time, not staring, monitoring. The wide field, peripheral vision of most songbirds covers more than 300 degrees. The bird at the feeder has had you in its visual field for considerably longer than you have been aware of it. The direct eye contact is not the beginning of the bird's assessment of you. It is a moment of escalated attention within an ongoing assessment that has already collected significant data. What has it collected? Your behavioral signature. How you move. Whether your movements are smooth and predictable or sudden and startling. Whether you tend toward the birds or away from them when you notice them. How long you stay before moving. Whether your presence at the window or door is followed by the feeder being filled, by something harmless, or by nothing. The pattern of your appearances across days and weeks. Research on individual recognition in birds, including work on European starlings and wild robins, published in journals including Animal Behavior, has documented that birds build individual behavioral profiles of specific humans through repeated observation. They are not just categorizing you as human. They are categorizing you as this specific human whose behavioral history they have been recording. This profiling goes deeper than most people expect. The bird's model of you includes seasonal information, whether you appear more in summer or winter, whether your behavior changes with the weather, whether your morning appearances are reliable or irregular. It includes acoustic information, the sound of the door you open, the sound of your footsteps on different surfaces, the particular way you move through the yard. Visual recognition is part of a multi-sensory profile that the bird has been assembling and updating continuously. The direct look is the bird shifting its highest resolution attention to verify something it has already been tracking with its peripheral vision. It already has a file on you. The eye contact is the moment it checks the file against what it sees. Number 3. What the direction and duration of eye contact tells you. Not all bird eye contact is the same. The direction and duration carry distinct information, and learning to read them changes what you see every time you watch a bird at close range. A brief direct glance, followed by the bird returning to what it was doing, is a threat check. The bird detected your movement or presence and ran a rapid foveal assessment. Finding no threat, it returned to the task it was performing. You passed. The process was efficient and complete in under a second. A sustained look, several seconds of maintained eye contact, is something different. This is the bird holding its highest resolution visual attention on you for longer than a threat check requires. Research on gaze behavior in wild birds has found that sustained eye contact from a bird toward a human is associated with higher levels of individual recognition. The bird that holds your gaze is not just checking for threat, it is doing something more specific. It is running a recognition process, matching what it sees against stored patterns of individuals it has encountered before. The bird that knows you will often hold eye contact longer than the bird that doesn't, because it has found a pattern match and it is confirming it. The sustained look at a trusted person is different in duration and in what it means from the brief check directed at a stranger. There is a third type of eye contact that is worth knowing about. When a bird makes direct eye contact and then gives a soft call, a contact call, a low chip note, before returning to feeding, it is doing something that researchers describe as social referencing. It is checking in. The call after the look is an audio signal that you were seen, assessed, and found to be part of the acceptable landscape of the moment. It is not communication in the human sense, but it is information being transmitted. The bird found something it recognized and registered the recognition with a sound. If a bird you do not recognize holds your eye for several seconds, you are likely seeing the beginning of an assessment. It will remember the next time you appear. The process will take less time. The time after that, less still. The file is being opened. The record has begun. Number 4. What the brain is doing during the moment of eye contact. In the second or two that a bird holds your gaze, several things are happening simultaneously in its brain. The Archipallium, the Threat Assessment Center, is running an evaluation of whether the direct eye contact from you constitutes a predatory signal. In most predator-prey relationships, direct eye contact from a predator signals targeting. The bird's threat system is evaluating whether your eye contact fits that pattern. For a bird that knows you, it does not. And the reason it does not is stored in the Nidapallium caudilaterale, the avian memory and executive function center. The stored behavioral profile the bird has built of you includes the information that your previous direct eye contact has never preceded a predatory act. The threat assessment is suppressed by stored experience. Simultaneously, the dopamine system is making a prediction. Does this individual, whose face the bird is currently evaluating at foveal resolution, predict a positive outcome? Food? Food? Safety? Continued access To this location? For a bird that has had consistently positive experiences in your yard, the answer is yes. The dopamine signal is positive, and the vocal and motor response system is being evaluated. Should the bird call, move, or stay? The outputs of the threat assessment and the reward prediction are being integrated into a behavioral decision in real time. All of this is happening in the brain of a bird weighing less than an ounce in under 2 seconds while it holds your gaze. Number 5. What changes after the bird looks at you directly? Here is the part that is hardest to stop thinking about. Once you understand it, after a bird makes sustained eye contact with a specific person, its behavior toward that person shifts, not dramatically, not immediately, but measurably. Research on habituation and individual recognition in wild birds has found that a bird's approach distance, the distance at which it will tolerate a specific person without flushing, decreases after repeated close eye contact encounters. The direct look and the information it delivers accelerate the trust-building process. The bird that held your gaze for 3 seconds at the feeder today has updated its behavioral file on you. The data point it just collected, that you could be looked at directly, that you did not lunge, did not reach, did not startle, is now in the record. The next time you appear, the suppression of the threat response will be marginally faster. The approach distance will be marginally shorter, and the bird will look at you again because the direct look is part of how it maintains and updates the file it has been building. The gaze is not just an output of recognition. It is an input to the ongoing process of knowing you. The cardinal that comes to your feeder every morning and turns to look at you through the window is not doing something simple. It is actively maintaining a relationship, in the specific behavioral sense that it is continuously updating its model of who you are and what your presence means. It has been watching you. It has been reading you. It has been updating its assessment of you with every encounter, every call, every movement, every morning. The feeder was full when it arrived. And there is one more thing worth understanding about the moment of eye contact itself. The bird that looks directly at you is doing something that most wild animals do not do with humans. Most prey animals avoid direct eye contact with larger animals. Direct eye contact is a predator behavior. A bird that holds your gaze rather than breaking it and flushing is making a specific statement about where you fall in its threat landscape. You are not being looked at the way prey looks at a predator. You are being looked at the way one individual looks at another individual that it knows. That is not a small distinction. It took every encounter you have ever had with that bird to earn it. When it turns and holds your eye, it is running the verification process on a record it has been building since the first time it saw you. And the fact that it stays, that it holds the look and goes back to feeding, is the result of every morning you appeared, and every slow movement you made, and every time the feeder was full. The eye contact is the moment the record confirms what it already knew. You are safe. You are known. You are part of the landscape of good things that happen in this yard. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had a bird hold eye contact with you longer than felt ordinary? What species and what did it do next? I want to know the specific moment. I read every one. I'll see you in the next one.